You know, when you mention the story and you talk about 2019, you can't help but go back and feel it. Not just the issues, the numbers, the acres burned, the number of people evacuated. I mean, we all can go through that, but if you close your eyes and think about those 2 years in between 2017 and 2019. 2017, the Sonoma complex fires, the Tubbs, the Nuns, the Pocket fire up here, a little bit north of us. We were on our heels. And so when we talk about the word resilience, really there's preparedness, there's resilience, there's the ability to withstand, there's building back better, there's integrating community and love into a place. There's using that fire that burns your community, the heat of it, to steer that fire, that heat, back towards betterment, towards neighbors who didn't know each other before but rebuilt together and are stronger than ever, towards spaces that are welcoming, because those personal interactions are what makes magic in a place like this. 2017, we were on our heels. More than 20 people died in Sonoma County, more than 40 people died in what was called the Northern California fire siege. There was a common mantra after those days that was never again. Not in that way. It doesn't mean we can control wildfires. It doesn't mean we can control the wind. It doesn't mean that we can control every situation on the ground. We can't control the drought, but we can make sure that we're ready. And ready in a way that's not freaking out, white knuckling our future, but ready in a way that really instills confidence in preparedness and in our response. And so when that little fire started up at the Kaiser's facilities, right, up on the mountains, ironically, right on a road that was called Fire Mountain Road up there. So, I mean, there's a history of this, right? When it started and those winds were projected to exceed what we saw in the Tubbs fire, to get up and be a historic wind event, we had this area up there. They called it the firefighters, called it the catcher's mitt. Like they had the fire kind of contained in this area up in the geysers. I was up there with them. And it really was kind of this area depressed down with the mountains around it. And they were just attacking, right? Like trying to give it as much as possible to keep it up in that catcher's mitt as opposed to flying off into these areas. And as they were doing that, the fire was saying, no, you can kind of keep me down, but you can't put me out. And this historic wind event went from being projected at 7 p.m. to being projected at midnight. At about 5 p.m., the National Weather Service called in and said, it's still coming, but it's going to hit at midnight. And so we had teams ready. We had, as we talked about, 240,000 people evacuated, which creates its own disaster, as we all now know. All the patients of Kaiser, all of the individuals out here, it creates its own disaster. But yet at the same time, when that wind started, I was up on the mountain peak with one of our fire chiefs, and this Diablo wind is what it's called, this devil wind is what it means in the translation, roared and just, and it rained fire, right? So down through the mountains, across Alexander Valley, across down Chalk Hill Road, pummeling down into these areas. The difference in 2017, which was all of our first responders were evacuating people, were evacuating animals, were just getting people out of harm's way the best they could, versus them having the knowledge, the security, the understanding of these locations, having partnered with parks in the years in between, but also being ready to go. They sat as a line to protect this community at Foothill Park, right here on the edge, just over this rise. Sonoma County Fire sat there, and in the hours preceding that, they knocked down everybody's wooden fences. They moved all their wicker furniture out of the way. They took anything flammable out, and they were able to hold the line of this ember storm that came in and absolutely stop what happened in Coffee Park and in Mark West and in Lark Field. You can't stop it, but you can contain it. So they were able to go into those single houses, those 3 houses, because there's an exponential rate that if 3 houses burn, all of a sudden that pops to 10. 10 goes to 300. 300 go to 4,000, right? The heat getting up to 1,600, 1,800 degrees. It's just fascinating. Over here, everything was evacuated. They had drones checking fire hotspots, going into different areas. They did amazing work in this community. And the reason this is so important is because this place is a nexus, or dare I say, a interface, an intersection. You know, this is the epitome of a wild urban interface. All of the joy of that, which is the individuals who live here, who choose to live next to a park, who choose to smell this, you know, scent of the trees and this clean air, and they love it, and it's the biggest asset when they buy their house somewhere around here. But then when the fire comes, or when a flood comes off of this property, all of a sudden the wild is a liability to the built infrastructure in an area. So the fact that this has been a completely redesigned place, it's so welcoming, it's more welcoming than it's ever been. It is a highly utilized park. It is my park of choice. I mountain bike and hike these trails all the time with my kids, bring up my dogs. It is just a joyous opportunity to be here with you to see this addition. And we just have to start and finish by thanking Kaiser for not just having good people, good medicine, and not just help us thrive, but like land. I mean, how many medical companies, how many groups that really focus on physical health really invest in land? And that's really what Sonoma County is all about. You know, I mean, we're all these microclimates, we're all these microcultures. We have the lower river is not just a very different area ecologically from here. There's also different cultures that live on the coast and other areas. It's a magical place of diversity in place and diversity in people. And yet at the same time, we have a partner that invests in the land in this area. So I really want to say thank you for doing that. Thank you all so much.